You think you're in control of your money? Think again. Every impulse buy, every unnecessary subscription, every mindless purchase, it's proof that your emotions are running the show. And that's exactly why you're stuck in the same financial cycle, month after month. But what if I told you that the secret to true financial freedom has nothing to do with budgeting hacks or cutting out lattes? Instead, it's about controlling yourself, your impulses, your fears, your desires. The ancient Stoics mastered this game centuries ago. They built empires, led armies, and thrived in chaos, not because they had more money, but because they had unshakable discipline. And in today's world of financial distractions, debt traps, and status games, their mindset is the weapon you're missing. By the end of this video, you'll have the exact Stoic principles that will make you unshakable with your money. No more impulse spending, no more financial anxiety, just absolute control. But here's the catch: this isn't for everyone. Some people will click away, too afraid to face the truth. Are you one of them, or are you ready to break free? Number 1. The luxury detox. Quit spending on status symbols. There's something intoxicating about the feeling of walking into a high-end store, swiping a shiny credit card, and walking out with a designer bag, the latest iPhone, or a luxury car. The rush of owning something exclusive, something that makes others turn their heads, is undeniable. You feel accomplished, successful, like you've made it. That dopamine hit of retail therapy feels like a well-earned reward for all your hard work. But let's pause for a moment. What happens after the thrill fades? That expensive watch on your wrist doesn't change your net worth. That new car, once a symbol of prestige, is already depreciating in value the moment you drive it off the lot. And that designer outfit? It's just fabric, wrapped in a logo that tricks you into believing it gives you status. Luxury is an illusion. Stoicism teaches us that true wealth isn't in material things, it's in freedom. Yet society convinces us that expensive brands and high-end possessions define success. We work harder, stress more, and even go into debt just to appear successful. But for what? To impress people who barely notice? To validate our self-worth through objects? Think about the times in your life when you were genuinely happy. Was it when you bought an expensive watch, or when you spent time with loved ones? Was it when you got the latest gadget, or when you achieved something meaningful? Nostalgia reminds us that some of our best moments had nothing to do with money. Now, here's the challenge. What if you completely detoxed from luxury spending? What if, for 6 months, you refused to buy anything that wasn't a necessity? No brand name clothes, no new tech unless the old one is broken, no fancy dining just for the Instagram photo. Instead, redirect that money into assets, investments, skills, experiences that actually improve your life. What would happen? Would people respect you less? Would your worth diminish? Or would you realize that the real luxury is having control over your finances and freedom from the endless chase of impressing others? Number 2. The financial Spartan test. Live on half your income. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing you only have half of your usual paycheck to live on. No exceptions, no loopholes, just half. Panic would probably set in. How would you pay for your rent, your car, your subscriptions, your weekend fun? It sounds extreme, maybe even impossible, but here's the thing: most people are living paycheck to paycheck, regardless of how much they make. Someone earning $50,000 a year is just as broke as someone making $500,000 a year if they spend it all. More money doesn't fix bad financial habits. Only discipline does. Stoicism isn't about suffering, it's about preparing. The Spartans, known for their discipline and strength, lived by the principle of self-denial. They believed that by intentionally living with less, they trained themselves to handle anything. Imagine applying that to your finances. What if you lived as if you earned half of what you actually do? At first, it sounds miserable, but think back to a time in your life when you had to stretch your money. Maybe in college, when you survived on cheap meals and found ways to have fun without spending much. Maybe it was a time when you had no choice but to budget every penny. Strangely enough, you made it work, didn't you? You were resourceful, you were careful, and you probably didn't even realize you were training for financial resilience. So what if you did it on purpose? What if, starting today, you cut your lifestyle in half, not because you're broke, but because you're building power? Cook at home instead of eating out. Cancel unnecessary subscriptions. Drive a used car instead of financing a new one. Move into a more affordable place. Buy quality second-hand items. Find ways to have fun without spending money. Take the excess cash and invest it. After 6 months, you'd have a financial cushion most people only dream of. You'd prove to yourself that you control your money, not the other way around. And here's the real mind shift. Once you realize you can live on half, you'll never feel financially trapped again. Now, imagine this: you keep doing it, year after year, living below your means, stacking investments, growing your freedom. At some point, you'll reach a level where work becomes optional. The Spartan test isn't about deprivation. It's about proving that you don't need to keep chasing money to be rich. Number 3. Memento mori. Budgeting. Spend as if you'll die tomorrow. Invest as if you'll live forever. Imagine if you knew, with absolute certainty, that you had exactly 1 week left to live. How would you spend your money? Would you be checking your bank app, obsessing over numbers, or would you finally take that trip you always postponed? Would you stress about saving, or would you make memories? Now flip the scenario. What if you knew, without a doubt, that you would live for 100 more years? Would you still buy that luxury car today? Would you still finance things that don't last? Or would you start thinking about long-term sustainability, building something that outlives you? This is the paradox of memento mori budgeting, balancing between living fully today and investing for an unstoppable future. Stoicism reminds us that death is inevitable, but so is the possibility of a long life. Most people fall into one of two extremes. Either they hoard every dollar, never enjoying life, or they spend recklessly, never preparing for the future. Both are mistakes. Think back to moments in your past when money wasn't the focus, times when you felt truly alive. Maybe it was an unforgettable road trip, a deep conversation with a loved one, or a moment of pure laughter. Did those experiences cost much? Probably not. They were about presence, not price. But now think about the future. If you keep living like you are today, will you be financially free 20 years from now? Or will you still be trapped in the cycle of earning and spending, always working, never truly independent? The key is balance. Spend money on experiences, not things. Travel, connect, and invest in relationships. But at the same time, build wealth for your future self. Buy assets, not liabilities. Invest in education. Automate your savings. Take calculated risks that create long-term rewards. Imagine a life where you never feel guilty about spending, because you know every dollar has a purpose, either to create a meaningful experience today or to secure your future. This is what memento mori budgeting is all about. Now ask yourself, if you knew your time was limited, how would you budget differently? And if you knew you'd live forever, what financial decisions would you change today? Number 4. Desire control. The no impulse purchase rule. Imagine this. You're walking through a shopping mall, scrolling through an online store, or just minding your business when suddenly you see it. That one thing you didn't even know you wanted until now. It could be the latest gadget, a new pair of sneakers, or something as simple as an overpriced coffee. For a split second, your brain goes into overdrive. I deserve this. It's a once-in-a-lifetime deal. I'll regret not buying it. Before you even realize it, your card is out and the transaction is complete. The dopamine rush kicks in. You feel good. But only for a moment. Then comes the aftermath, the buyer's remorse, the clutter, the creeping realization that your financial goals are slipping further away. What just happened? You were manipulated. Not by an ad, not by a salesperson, but by your own desires. Stoicism teaches that controlling our desires is the key to financial and personal freedom. And that's where the no impulse purchase rule comes in. The war between emotion and logic. The moment we feel an urge to buy, there's an internal war between emotion and logic. Emotion says, "This will make me happy." Logic says, "Do you actually need this?" Emotion says, "It's a deal, you're saving money." Logic says, "You're spending money on something unnecessary." But here's the truth. Emotion usually wins. Marketers know this. They've studied human psychology down to a science. The urgency of a limited time offer, the appeal of exclusive access, and the artificial scarcity of a product, all designed to hijack your rational thinking. This is why implementing the no impulse purchase rule is crucial. The 30-day rule, delayed gratification in action. The first step is simple. If you want to buy something that isn't essential, force yourself to wait 30 days before making the purchase. Sounds easy? It's not. When you want something badly, every part of your brain is screaming at you to get it now. But here's what happens when you delay. Number 5, the indifference investment strategy. Emotion-free wealth building. Imagine this. The stock market crashes overnight. Panic spreads like wildfire. News anchors scream financial doom. Investors rush to sell everything. Meanwhile, you don't flinch. You don't check your portfolio. You don't feel a thing. Why? Because you've mastered the indifference investment strategy, a Stoic approach to wealth that removes emotion from the equation and turns you into a financial warrior. The problem: why emotions destroy wealth. Most people treat investing like a roller coaster. They chase hype, get euphoric when markets rise, and collapse into despair when they fall. They buy high and sell low, repeating the same tragic cycle over and over. Why? Because they're emotionally attached to money. Think about it. The average investor reacts emotionally to every market fluctuation. They feel pride when their portfolio is up and shame when it's down. But Stoicism teaches us that external events are beyond our control. The stock market, economic crashes, inflation, none of these are within our power. What is our response? Step 1. Kill the emotional attachment to money. Money is a tool. That's it. It's not a status symbol, not a source of self-worth, and definitely not a reason to have a breakdown. The first rule of the indifference investment strategy is to stop seeing money as a measure of personal success. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Apply this to your wealth. Your portfolio's performance does not define you. Whether it doubles or crashes tomorrow, your mindset remains unshaken. Step 2. Adopt an automated, unshakable investment plan. Most people lose money because they try to time the market. They get greedy when stocks are high and fearful when they drop. But the Stoic investor, they don't play this game. Instead, they follow these unbreakable principles. Dollar cost averaging. Set a fixed amount to invest every month, no matter what's happening in the market. This removes emotions from investing and ensures long-term gains. Index fund investing. Instead of chasing individual stocks, invest in broad market index funds like the S&P 500. Historically, they grow over time. No checking the market daily. Stoics don't obsess over things they can't control. Set your investments, forget about them, and let time do the work. Step 3. View market crashes as opportunities, not disasters. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoics, trained himself to expect loss. He practiced voluntary poverty to ensure that, if everything was taken from him, he would be fine. You must do the same with investing. When a recession hits, most people panic. They sell, lock in losses, and never recover. But the indifferent investor sees opportunity. Stocks are on sale. The rich don't fear crashes, they use them to buy assets at a discount. If you can train yourself to detach from fear, you will build real wealth. Step 4. Ignore financial news and social media hype. The media profits from your panic. They thrive on fear-mongering headlines designed to trigger emotional reactions. The solution? Stop consuming financial news. Delete finance apps that make you check stocks every hour. Avoid market predictions, they're mostly nonsense. Stop listening to influencers who scream, "Buy now" or "Sell everything." A true Stoic investor remains unmoved, indifferent, focused only on long-term wealth building. Step 5. Master patience. The key to real wealth. The stock market rewards those who wait. Warren Buffett, a modern Stoic in investing, once said, "The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Patience is your greatest financial weapon. Your investments will grow over decades, not weeks. Resist the urge to act impulsively. Stay calm, stay invested, and let compounding do its magic." The final mindset shift. Be unshakable. Once you embrace the indifference investment strategy, your financial life changes. Market crashes won't scare you. Get-rich-quick schemes won't tempt you. You will become unshakable, a true Stoic in the world of wealth. Ask yourself, are you ready to detach from financial emotions and build wealth the Stoic way? The choice is yours. Number 6. Ego death. Economics. Stop trying to impress. Start trying to grow. In a world that thrives on status symbols and social validation, we are conditioned to measure our worth by the things we own, the brands we wear, and the image we project. But what if we strip all of that away? What if we remove the ego from our financial decisions and focus solely on growth? Ego death economics is not just about saving money, it's about redefining what success truly means. The trap of external validation. From an early age, society instills in us the need to be admired. Whether it's the newest gadget, designer clothes, or luxury cars, we spend money not because we need these things, but because they make us look successful. But here's the truth. Chasing status is an endless loop. The moment you acquire one thing, there's always something newer, shinier, and more expensive waiting to replace it. If your financial choices are dictated by how others perceive you, you are not in control, your ego is. The only way to break free from this cycle is to kill the part of you that seeks approval through material possessions. This is where ego death economics begins. The mindset shift. From impressing to growing. Instead of spending money on things that boost your social image, start using it to build a foundation for long-term success. This means prioritizing investments over impulse purchases, education over entertainment, and self-improvement over self-indulgence. Your goal should be to cultivate wealth and wisdom, not just the illusion of wealth. Consider this: the richest people in the world don't flaunt their wealth. Warren Buffett still lives in the same modest house he bought in 1958. Mark Zuckerberg is often seen in the same grey t-shirt and jeans. Their wealth isn't in their image, it's in their assets, their investments, and their ability to think long-term. That's what true financial growth looks like. Practical steps to achieve ego death economics. Audit your expenses. Identify ego-driven purchases. Look at your bank statements for the past 6 months. Highlight every expense that was made purely for status or external validation. Be brutally honest with yourself. Was that designer bag necessary? Did that luxury watch actually bring you long-term happiness, or just a fleeting sense of superiority? Redirect your money towards growth. Every time you feel the urge to buy something to impress others, redirect that money towards something that builds wealth. Invest in stocks, buy books that enhance your knowledge, take a course, or put that money into a high-yield savings account. The goal is to shift from spending for admiration to spending for accumulation. Live below your means. Even if you can afford more, just because you can afford a $70,000 car doesn't mean you should buy one. Opt for a reliable vehicle that serves your needs, not your ego. The money you save can be invested, and over time, the compounded returns will far outweigh the short-term boost in social status. Detach from consumerism. Challenge yourself to go on a material detox. For 1 month, commit to buying only what you absolutely need. No new clothes, no unnecessary tech upgrades, no impulse spending. Focus instead on accumulating knowledge, skills, and financial assets. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Your environment plays a huge role in shaping your mindset. If you're constantly around people who value image over intelligence, you'll be pressured to do the same. Seek out individuals who prioritize financial independence, personal development, and meaningful success. Measure success differently. Stop equating success with visible wealth. Instead, measure it by your net worth, your knowledge, your skills, and your level of financial freedom. Real success isn't about looking rich. It's about having the freedom to live life on your terms. The psychological benefits of ego death in finance. When you stop trying to impress others, you gain something invaluable: peace of mind. You are no longer trapped in a cycle of comparison, jealousy, and financial stress. You start making decisions based on logic and long-term growth rather than fleeting emotions. This shift doesn't just improve your bank account, it improves your overall well-being. Final thoughts. Ego death. Economics isn't about deprivation, it's about liberation. When you stop spending money to impress people who don't matter, you free yourself to build the life you truly want. You become financially unshakable because your self-worth is no longer tied to what you own, but to what you know and what you've built. That's it, the Stoic approach to financial mastery. If you made it this far, you're already ahead of 99% of people still trapped by their emotions and spending habits. The question now is, will you take action? If this video gave you something to think about, hit that like button, not just for me, but to remind yourself that you're committing to a new mindset. Subscribe if you want more no-nonsense strategies to take control of your life. And here's your challenge. Drop a comment below what's one financial decision you're going to make differently after watching this. Let's build a community of people who refuse to be controlled by their impulses. Know someone who needs to hear this? Share this video with them. Sometimes all it takes is one shift in perspective to change everything. Remember, wealth isn't about how much you make. It's about how much control you have. Stay disciplined, stay stoic, and I'll see you in the next one.